name is Chris, and this is Barn on 11970. Thank you, as always, for wanting to take the time to listen to what I have to say. Always appreciate that. And I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of my subscribers who left the very supportive and kind comments yesterday regarding how I was feeling. Just to keep everybody updated, I'm actually already starting to feel better. I'm already getting what's called a productive cough, getting everything out. So I just wanted to give everybody an update on that. So thank you for the kind words. It was definitely appreciated. What I want to talk about on this particular video, and this is what it's titled, Why Congressional Hearings for Hillary's Email Scandal is Complete BS. I don't have cable TV. I took that off about 2 years ago, because if you don't want the propaganda, you just have to eliminate it from your life. So I don't watch this stuff on the television. I will get clips from YouTube, and there's a lot of clips about the congressional hearings. And the best part is you watch a specific part that you want, only for a few minutes, no commercials, and you get right to what you're looking at. So I've been watching several of these congressional hearings. And what I have to say is, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had the opportunity to watch the congressional hearings, please do. And there's a reason why. For example, C-SPAN puts it on there most of the time, C-SPAN 3, because it's a channel that hardly anybody watches. And unfortunately, people would rather watch sports. They would rather pay attention to, the latest Hollywood gossip. They don't care about their government. And the problem is, this system now is so corrupt that they don't even hide it anymore. And the biggest things that I realize is, excuse me, as you could see just in the image alone, look how few seats are filled. So it shows the majority of them, and by the way, the majority of the people doing these Hillary email scandals are Republicans. Now, obviously, it's a little bit easier for them because of the fact that Hillary's a Democrat, so they're going to have an extra incentive. But you notice how few people are actually there. And you'll see this in a lot of the videos. Now, the problem I have is, first of all, I want to say the FBI is doing the worst job I've ever seen. Now, most of the FBI people that were in charge of the Clinton emails, or the investigation of the Clinton emails, they have basically had to have been subpoenaed, even just to show up. They had a chance where they invited them and not one of them showed up. Now, the FBI is supposed to be bipartisan. They're not supposed to represent one particular side. They're supposed to be investigating. Now, they've been subpoenaed to give in a lot of the evidence, and they've only given partial bits of their investigations. Even things that were not deemed classified, they would not turn over to the Congress, which means they're hiding stuff for Hillary. And the reason people aren't in an outrage is because, again, these things are shown on channels like C-SPAN 3. I mean, how many people watch that? So they get away with it because pretty much nobody cares. Now, I've watched the investigation after investigation, court hearing after court hearing. Now, obviously, these things are not going to be seen, and that's the problem. So what I would recommend to people is start watching this so you can really learn how the people that work for our government are not going to help us. Now, there are a lot of the Republicans that are doing these congressional hearings, and they're trying to get answers. And every single person being investigated either says, I don't have the authority, you have to look at someone else to go to, I don't have the authorization to give you that information. They plead the fifth. They're doing everything to make sure that no information gets out there. And the biggest problem I have, if you notice, no matter who they investigate, who they talk to, they always say they're not in charge of doing the particular thing to the question that they're being asked. Which is kind of sad. There are so many people in government that each little piece only knows a little bit and only has a certain amount of power. And they always have to answer to somebody else. So this is the problem with larger governments. Now, as much as they try and drill them and try and get this information out, they also, on the same side, are thanking them for the little things that they do. They shouldn't be thanking them for giving information that doesn't help. And this is the problem with our government system and what it's become. This is no longer bipartisan. This is no longer looking into law and everybody is judged the same way. It's all about, if you are wealthy enough, if you have the connections, you could literally get away with anything. And there will be people that supposedly are there to serve, who are supposed to be representatives for us, who will hide information, who will sell us all out, either because they've been threatened, or they might lose their job, or they've been paid off, who knows. But if you watch these congressional hearings, you will get no information because they will not tell you anything. And the problem with that is hardly anybody seems to care. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, things do not change, because we don't pay attention to the important things. Now, obviously, if you're watching this video, you're one of the people that does pay attention, but this is not thousands of people. This is right now currently 8 people. So thank you to the 8 people that are watching. And of course, obviously, there'll be plenty of people that are going to watch this when it's no longer live. But my point is, if you don't pay attention to how the system works, that is why it's allowed to continue, because we don't seem to be outraged enough. And if you look throughout history, when do people become outraged? Well, when the majority of people lose everything. Nobody starts a rebellion or a revolution or a riot or anything like that when things are going well or they're not aware of the situation. It's always when all of a sudden it hits the average person and they have no choice. And what is it? Ukesta says, I disagree. They're getting people to answer and it's on record. They get a few people to answer, but they don't give answers that solve the problem. A lot of these people say they don't have the authority, they plead the fifth, they give generalization. Now, one of the biggest things you will notice, and this is the thing that I talk about, that you really should learn about law. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand law. You just have to have the ability to read and pay attention. You'll notice in these hearings, one of the biggest things that these people do when they answer any question is they say, well, I believe. There's a reason for that, because you cannot be held accountable in court for having a belief. And this is what they do when they answer things. Well, I believe this certain things happened. So they cannot be held responsible for what they're saying. There's little tricks, and that's why I tell people all the time, and I have previous videos that I talk about language in law. It's called legalese, and if you don't know how it works, you will not pay attention. So if you watch some of these hearings, you will see time and time again, the people will say things like, I believe this, this, and this. They can't get in trouble for that. It's a belief. So if you ever go to court and you're not sure about something, you could say, well, I believe this is happening. I don't recommend you doing anything without a lawyer. I mean, that's up to you. But what I'm saying is you have to learn the language. And the problem is, this government is just not going to work for you the way that you want them to. And it shows by the empty seats just in the congressional hearings from the very people that are supposed to be questioning these people. You cannot say, and I think it's saving face and trying to look good because they are doing this in front of a camera. You cannot say that you're disappointed in the fact that they won't give any information, but thank them at the same time just for showing up. And a lot of them show up because they were subpoenaed. Why are we thanking them? Why are we not having our congressmen yelling at them, telling them that this is unacceptable? And the problem is that these emails are not going to be learned unless things like WikiLeaks happens. And you notice they don't care about the actual emails. They're caring about who actually exposed them. And that's why they blame Russia on these things all the time. So they want to focus on the fact that if Russia did it, I don't know, but let's say they did. They're more focused on the fact of who did it than what the actual emails are. And this all comes down to the fact with the Clinton donations to her foundation, quote-unquote donations, ends up being basically revealed that it's a pay-for-play, where people around the world, if you have enough money, you pay them. Now, obviously, if you paid them direct money, that's bribery. They could go to prison for that. But if you mask it as a donation, well, then you cannot get in trouble for that. So we are exposing ourselves to security risks, and who knows what else is happening behind the scenes. And the problem is, we the people who are really in control of this government, that's why the document's supposed to be we the people, not them the Congress, or them the FBI, or even he or she the president. It's when we no longer consent is when we change the system. But when we do nothing about it, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get the runarounds. We're going to get something that could have been handled in one day is now stretching out for months, and you will never know the answers. And they'll continue to get people to be there at these congressional hearings. They'll keep either pleading the fifth or saying they don't have the authority or just giving their beliefs, and no answers will get done. And you'll notice that you'll have one or two Democrats who will just spend the time thanking them for their appearance, and then you'll get the Republicans that some of them, there are some people that really do some great questions, and they're really talking about the law, and they get no answers. And it's almost like their hands are tied, because they know that a president can just grant immunity to anybody. So in our government, we have a system where the people that are supposed to protect us and expose fraud and keep things truthful, regulated, fair, honest, they're not on our side. They're protecting people in government that are doing what is now obviously corrupt things. I mean, how do you get away with the fact that Hillary Clinton had all of these BlackBerries, about a dozen of them, they said, and people were hired to smash them? They were bleaching out her emails so you couldn't get the information. I mean, is this something normal that people do when they're just doing regular things? I mean, when you have a phone and you don't use it anymore, do you smash it? There's a reason for these things. It's hiding things. And they get away with it. And that's why you're seeing things like with Hillary's supposed pneumonia, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I've said before, and I'll say it again, there will be no debates. They can't, because Hillary will be demolished by Trump. So they're not going to let it happen. And they're going to defend her. And that's why I showed that video the other day about all the news channels. I mean, I will give Fox credit. They at least are questioning it. But they're not investigating it to the point where they're pointing it out. Say, listen, maybe one of the people that have worked on Fox News, maybe they've had bronchitis or pneumonia. And they say, well, I look at this image and it doesn't look like anything what a person with pneumonia does. I've had pneumonia 5 times in my life. Never once have I fainted. Never once have I needed to be held up. You have a fever. You're gasping for air. You tend to hunch over. You don't lean to one side. So the problem is, until we actually start to view these things, we're never going to learn the system. So to me, it is complete BS, because it's basically just a bunch of people trying to ask questions to people they know are not going to give the answers, and then just continually ask question after question, knowing they're not going to get any answers, instead of trying to find a different way to get this out there. So are they really on our side, or are they just putting on a show? And that's what we have to start participating in. We have to become more involved, because like I said, riots and revolutions and all those things, they don't happen until all of a sudden the public realizes, wow, I can't get food anymore, or wow, my money is not worth what it was anymore, or wow, they're creating martial law and all of a sudden my freedoms are totally gone. Why do we always wait until the last minute when the writing is clearly on the wall? And I know we get so many people that we get frustrated by the people who don't pay attention in our lives, like our friends, our families, and coworkers. They don't want to pay attention. Well, remember, ladies and gentlemen, if we give up on them, they will give up on us and create the very things that we don't want. So we have to either find a different way, but get people to understand these things. Watch a couple of these C-SPAN videos where they're doing these congressional hearings, and you will see that most of the people, when they answer, they either plead the fifth, they just go about, like, they'll ask questions, yes or no, is this certain thing happening? And they won't say yes or no. They always go into this long, dragged-out thing. And there's a reason for that. My question is, if Congress, especially the people that are so aggravated about it, why aren't they doing something to fix it? To me, it's just a dog and pony show. And this is why we will not have the system change, because there are too many spokes in the wheel. And that's why I know so many people want Trump to be president, thinking that he's going to change things. Look, if you look at the congressional hearings, do this as a homework assignment. I want you people who care enough to go to the C-SPAN, or anybody that has the C-SPAN congressional hearings, and watch at least a dozen of them. And listen to the rhetoric, and listen to the fact that they're always saying that somebody else is in charge, and I don't have authority, and I believe this, or I can't answer that question. You will see that there are too many spokes in the wheel for any one person to fix the system. It has to be reset. And until that happens, this is only going to get worse. Because these people are millionaires. There was a video I watched earlier where one of the congressional, congressional hearings, one of the congressmen, he was a Republican, he didn't even question him. He just basically gave a 15-minute speech of how disappointed he was in the FBI people that were there, and they had to be subpoenaed to come in. And it's embarrassing. And he said each one, there were probably 6 or 7 people that were subpoenaed to be there. And he said each one of them, their salary, ladies and gentlemen, their salary is over $1 million. And he even states this for the record. So these people are making millions of dollars on our taxpayers' money. So all those taxes you think you're using to pay for bridges and roads and schools are going for these people to keep their salaries so they can have corrupt systems in our politics, in our politicians, and basically do everything in their power to make sure nothing is ever exposed. I mean, this is the case of, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So until the people, and I'm not talking about the few people that are here, and it's 3 times the amount as when it started, so I'm very happy about that. But until we get the millions of people to stop paying attention to Justin Bieber and stop paying attention to things that don't matter, and actually pay attention to how this system is become and what it's become. I mean, anybody like Judge Napolitano, he got fired from Fox News for speaking the truth. Now, I think he got rehired at one point. I'm not sure, because, I mean, like, some of the videos I watch are out of order, so I'm not really sure how it is at this point, nor do I really honestly care. But it's, if you tell the truth, you're either humiliated or ignored, and it's just amazing that we allow these things to happen. So I don't want to make this video too long. I want to thank people for taking the time to listen. I hope people will go to the comments section and start creating a dialogue. Bring people here to start paying attention. And like I said, my homework assignment for you that care is to watch at least a dozen of these C-SPAN congressional hearings and listen to how they act and how outraged the people that are doing the questions may seem to appear. They thank them in the end. For what? Doing nothing? You know, just imagine if they catch a murderer and they thank him for showing up. Is that supposed to be the prize? You know, don't care about who he killed, or don't care about how it happened, or don't care about proving that he is actually, or she is actually the killer. Just thank him for showing up. I mean, really? This is what we have as our representatives? This is the system we want, and you don't think this is going to fall in on its own and collapse on itself? You know, and I still watch Trump's speeches, and he did some question and answers, and he will not talk about the fact that we need a different system as far as the monetary system. I mean, if you don't know about Executive Order 11110, and that's one of the reasons why JFK was assassinated, one of the reasons, is we're not making our own money. We keep borrowing it. And the rest of the world is going to have a day, and it's coming soon, where they're not going to use it anymore. And Teresa C. says Bieber is all right sometimes. Well, if you want to focus on people like Justin Bieber, then, you know, we're going to get what we deserve. So, I mean, I don't mean to point you out, but I mean, if that's funny to you, then this is why this system's going to fall in on itself, and most people are going to suffer. You know, people are so worried about fear porn and all that stuff. That's why I don't talk about it. But I mean, not for nothing. If you live next to an active volcano and you don't want to hear it because it sounds scary that you might die in a lava pit, and you choose to ignore what's going on, well, don't be surprised if you wake up and see all of a sudden a lava flow heading right towards your house and you can't escape. So, I mean, we can make fun of this, we can make light of it, we can, ignore it. It's not going to go away. The only things that are going to go away are your freedoms, your financial ability, and probably your ability to be secure and, have a future for you and your family. So please, by all means, make jokes. That's fine. People like me and others who are paying attention to these things, we will have the last laugh. And again, I don't have fear porn videos, but make no mistake, if you ignore the warning signs, you will get what you deserve. And if you don't like to hear that, well, then I suggest go on Justin Bieber's YouTube channel. You'll be pleasantly, distracted. As you could see by the amount of people that are on my channel, and of the thousands of people that are subscribed, a few hundred will listen. And people will make excuses. They'll say I drag out my videos so that I don't get to the point. You know what? There are plenty of videos that out there that'll be straight to the point and tell you things that, are not the truth. If you cannot pay attention to what's going on and your mind is not capable of focusing on keeping your eye on the ball, keep watching people like Alex Jones, who is going to totally give you a little bit of good information, but he's there to keep divide and conquer. He's there to keep you scared, talking about death and destruction all the time. I will never watch Alex Jones again after I found out things. And watch, there are plenty of videos that expose him as a fraud. He's there to distract you. That is why, if you ever watch his show, he acts like a raving lunatic. Because then the average person will associate us with people like Alex Jones. He supposedly represents us. There's a reason why he acts like a complete idiot sometimes. So, PewTube says, thank you for the truth, Chris. And you're welcome. I appreciate that. And we need more of this. I'm sorry that my videos are not the most entertaining. I'm sorry that I don't have a wonderful light show that I can distract you with. I'm sorry that my videos are not 2 minutes long so your attention span isn't upset. I'm sorry I don't talk about the things you want to hear. But the honest thing is, I'm not really sorry. And Antonio Florentino said, Teresa C., I know he didn't catch that. We did. Catch what? The point is, whether you guys are making an inside joke or something, it doesn't matter, because what I'm saying is the average person, that's what they care about. They don't care about what's going on. That's why nobody's going to listen to this stuff. So we can make jokes. We can ignore this. It's not going to go away. And like I said, your freedoms will go away. Your financial ability is going away. And obviously, they're making this whole inside thing about the whole Justin Bieber thing. So, you're making light of things we don't like Bieber. And that's good. But the point is, we should be focusing on talking about how we fix this and not things like that. So, I mean, anyway. Okay. I want to thank everybody for watching. Obviously, the point is not getting across, and that's fine with me. You guys have a good day and continue to enjoy your conversation with each other. So thank you, Teresa. I will calm down. Very nice. Have a good day, everybody.